It's Delaware for Friday, December 15th. I'm Peter MacArthur. We are going big on the news you can use element today. Chris Burkhard, Placer Staffing, joining us as he does periodically to talk about all things jobs and kind of your place in the equation of careers and such. First of all, Chris, good morning.
Hey, happy holidays.
Thank you. You as well. Appreciate, as always, your time and your information today. Why don't we do this, Chris? Why don't we start with this jobs report that came out in the past few days? What are your kind of perceptions of it right now?
Well, Pete, it was the just right number of 199,000 jobs.
Yeah.
What's different is the majority of the jobs were being filled by the government or healthcare. Hospitality and leisure and restaurants have been really dominating, say, the last 4, 5, 6 months. So that number is higher than before the pandemic, which seems like a million years ago, right? But it's lower than we've been having all year, so it could feel kind of funny. But here's my perception. The best part is that this is a sustainable job growth number. Our Fed may actually lower interest rates. Wouldn't that be nice? We'd be able to all do things, right? But it fits the number of available workers that are out there. So it's this balance that we could achieve in 2024. And if we could just get inflation under control, that might be right. But this is an economy and jobs report that could really fit that soft landing, no recession. And you know, when the world is like this, unemployment dropped a little bit. It went down to 3.7% from 3.9. That gets people off the sidelines, or people that, I'm not sure it's a good time for me to look at, to go get a job. It seems like a tough time. Well, this is encouraging, and 500,000 people that were sidelined entered the workforce according to surveys. Many of them got jobs or are looking. So this is a sustainable number of jobs and available workers. It's a really nice sweet spot.
What about the situation in Delaware's job market right now? How would you describe that?
Well, we had to do some digging for this, but Placers is saying jobs galore in healthcare. We still see trends in hospitality and leisure. The skilled trades is something you're going to hear about more and more as, there's been government money pushed towards infrastructure. And that there is a gap there for the skilled trade. So there's tremendous opportunities there. We're also seeing manufacturing kind of shake off the doldrums. If anything, you might say manufacturing locally was in a bit of a recession this year, and then it's starting to come out. But we saw a lot less holiday hiring this year. Normally, that's what retail and supply chain e-commerce does. But specifically, if you're a truck driver, if you're in customer service, or you're a welder, this is a strong local market. It could be areas for you to consider for a career in 2024. But Delaware's unemployment has dropped from 4.6% at the start of the year down to 4.2%. And we have 6,000 Delawareans currently on unemployment. That's up a little bit. So in a small state, what's that number look like? But one cool trend, strong trend, is Delaware is one of the fastest growing states in population over the last few years. So we just went over 500,000 civilians working the last 3 months for like the first time ever. So we have maybe a slightly larger workforce.
Nice. We are, I don't know where it went at the end of 2023. And for a lot of people, it's a time for consideration perhaps of a new career. How would you use this time to do some career thinking as we turn the page into 2024?
Well, I know if I use the dirty word resolution, it gets people, all kind of fired up in good and bad ways. Some people, it's their favorite time of the year. Others, it just frustrates them. But one of the things I solidly teach and believe in is that there's a step that is very rewarding during this time of year. And we all know that, when we're out visiting and we're with friends and family and the holidays are upon us, sometimes you just need to step away and find a quiet corner. And this is the exercise on it. So before you decide what's next in your career or you're making big life decisions, do a self-review of your year. grab your calendar, even look at the pictures on your phone if that's your thing, and maybe you have goals for the year, and start reviewing and writing down kind of how you did. What were your key projects at work or accomplishments? Personal travel, people you spent time with. This is a really positive way and helpful way. I always am surprised that, oh, yeah, I didn't know I did or remember I did that. Like you said, where did this year go?
Yeah.
Well, review the year, and it's a very positive experience because sometimes all of us just think, what's next? I didn't get anything done, but you probably did get more done in advance. And honestly, if you do this thinking, then maybe you can think about where you'd like to turn your time and attention. The other thing I'd like to think about is there's a rumor that businesses do not hire during the holidays. It's absolutely not true, especially this year. So we're seeing organizations hire critical roles next week, Pete, and certainly the time in January. So I think we tell ourselves these stories that, I need to shut it down because it's the holidays, and it's just not true. If you've got the skills and experiences, organizations have holes.
Before we go, let me just ask you this, because I think, there are people that are listening and they're saying, that's great advice. I love the reflection element of what you just talked to, and say they still would like to get an edge. And when I say an edge, I mean perhaps looking at Placer Staffing for some help on things like this. I mean, what does that initially look like to people? What is it you want people coming into or inquiring with Placer Staffing to kind of bring to the table so you can help them better?
Well, we talk about being a coach to the workforce all the time.
Yeah.
So that's a broad statement, right?
Yeah.
And the years. But people show up with all kinds of things that they need. What most people think they need, Pete, is, hey, I think I'm going to lose my job. Would you look at my resume? Hey, look at my reference sheet. Hey, I don't know how to do a cover letter, or a host of things, or where do I begin? So we start from that beginning place, which is usually the mindset, and then we're helping people get their job search tools right. But really the biggest thing that I find is you need a broker, an agent, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We all typically can't create enough things to explore. There is a strong trend of transferable skills from fields today. I've done these things and I want to make a change. And so having somebody help guide you and think about those transferable skills, I could go on, but what I think is that you need somebody to partner with that maybe understands your field, your skill set, your industry, and we help people there. And then, when people are in the job search, then they have new questions, Pete. Like, I have this interview on Monday. How do I answer this question? Or do you still send paper thank you notes? Or how do you so we all are good at our jobs. We're not good at job search. Thank gosh, that's not what we do full time, right?
Yeah.
So we have to remember that people get very frustrated that they can't master this. But we don't use it enough typically to really master it. And that's why we're here. So in the end, we get people in jobs, but there's 99 other things somebody needs to learn or do or practice to probably get that. I know that prompts other questions, but that's the key. It's an expertise you need when you're in that moment. And then you set it aside because then you got a job, right?
Right.
And, but that's why we're here, is because it's not, I like to say, we don't necessarily clean our own teeth. We go to a dentist. We don't do our own lawyer contracts. We do that. But some reason we think we can manage our own careers and our jobs.
You're right.
And then we wonder why Google can't do it for us. Now, there's great stuff out there. Don't get me wrong. But I still think humans talking to humans gets things done and gets jobs. It's still a place where who you know and networking matters. Technology is the great enhancement, but there's always a new piece of technology, and that's hard too because you don't know what to use.
Yeah. I'm so glad I asked that question. That's just great advice, great insight, Chris, and I appreciate you sharing that today. And happy holidays to you and a prosperous 2024, and we'll talk again soon.
I look forward to talking to you in the new year.
All right, very good. Chris Burkhard joining us, Placer Staffing in Newark. You want to check his place out, myplacers.com, myplacers.com.